Welcome, welcome. We are here with Phaedra Howard of Helmuth & Johnson, Ask the Attorney. Now, when people are buying a condo, a co-op, or even a single family with an HOA, there are things you need to know. So before you buy that, you want to review all the documents. But I'm going to have Phaedra explain what's the difference between a co-op, a condo, and a single family HOA. Phaedra, thank you so much for having us Ask the Attorney. You are a world of experience. So please tell people, what do they need to know about co-ops and how they function or dysfunction?
So co-ops are, we say, a completely different critter. I mean, they are a community association. They're at least, since '94, they're governed by the same statutes as townhomes and condos. But they operate a little differently. When you buy into a co-op, you are not, by and large, you're not purchasing real estate. You are buying stock in a corporation, and having that stock gives you the right to occupy a unit, subject to a lease. The lease is going to be a little different from your regular apartment lease because the lease will be in place as long as you're in good standing with the association. But you do not own real estate. You own part of the corporation.
You own shares in the
corporation.
corporation.
Right, yeah. So you buy a share into the corporation. You get to live there. You don't own the real estate, which means there's no mortgage. There are other options for financing when you're purchasing into a co-op, what's typically referred to as a share loan. They'll take a security interest in your stock in the corporation, but it's not a mortgage. So there's a limited number of lenders that will provide share loans, so it's a different market. The vast majority of the co-ops that we have here in Minnesota are specifically for senior housing, so 55 and older or 62 and older.
That's very interesting. I lived in Manhattan when they were converting a lot of apartment buildings to co-ops, and they were self-managed. So you put 25 to 30 New Yorkers together, and what do you get? It was a battlefield, and none of them really knew what they were doing. So it's really better. Should they have an attorney review the documents for the co-op before signing anything?
Absolutely. Whether it's a co-op, condo, townhome, even a single family homeowners association, I would definitely recommend, especially somebody who's not familiar, maybe a first-time buyer or first time in an association, have an attorney review those documents. There are a lot of documents that govern the association, financials and other things that are provided, and just being able to understand them, understand what you own, what you don't own, who maintains what parts of the property, and what your risk is or liability for expenses.
Right, especially if they don't have the funds for repairs. And as I mentioned, one association made a substantial loan for a big complex, and all of the homeowners were assessed. And of course, nobody reads documents. So then they were surprised to find out what they actually owed. So if you get something from the association, read it. And if you don't understand it, call Phaedra. She'll explain it to you, what you can and you can't do. So homeowners associations, tell me, what do people need to know about those documents?
You need to understand, again, like I said before, what you own and what you don't own, and that's going to be different depending on whether it's a townhome, a condo, a co-op, or a single-family home. What your unit boundaries are, what you own, what's common areas, who maintains what, and that's sometimes, a lot of times, in fact, what the association is doing is not what their documents say as far as who's supposed to be maintaining what. Sometimes the association says, no, that's on the homeowner, and it's really not, or vice versa, that's supposed to be the homeowner's responsibility, but the association's been taking care of it. So understanding what the documents say, of course, if you're in an association, you're paying assessments, so you need to understand what that means. And you need to understand that if you don't pay your assessments, the association can foreclose and take your home, just like a mortgage.
There have been.
So, make sure that is a top priority expense. mortgage and homeowners association assessments to keep a roof over your head, even, before you pay your car note or buy groceries or whatever else.
Right. Right. Most importantly is for people to really read the documents and understand. What about the meetings? Should homeowners regularly attend their association meetings?
I would say yes. I mean, obviously, it's up to the individual homeowner how much they want to be involved. But certainly any association that was formed after 1994, the statute says that homeowners are allowed to attend. That doesn't necessarily mean they get to participate. They're observers.
Oh.
But they have every right to attend board meetings and to hear what's going on, to see the decision-making process in action, and to know what their association is doing.
Well, I will say the associations that I have attended were pretty vocal. People voice their opinions to the board, is my understanding, and they may not legally have a say, but they have some influence. Would that be correct?
Most associations will, as part of their meeting or before or after the official meeting, will have what they call a homeowner forum. Okay. That's not required, but most of them will do that, and that's the opportunity for homeowners to bring issues or concerns to the attention of the board. Okay. So that the board has that information, can take it under advisement, decide if they want to take any action on those things that are brought up to their attention. Once that homeowner forum is done, however, unless a homeowner has been asked to be put on the agenda, asked for their input, they should be remaining quiet and not speak at the meeting.
Well, should. No is a negative.
Right.
When a buyer receives the documents from the previous homeowner, there is also the budget that's included in all of that. And if they're financing it, the lender always wants a copy of the budget. Is there something a buyer should be looking for at that? They probably don't understand, but what if it were you, if you were buying, what would you look at in their budget?
I would want to look at one, what are the things that the association's maintaining and replacing? Look at if they have a reserve study. If they don't have a reserve study, that might be a red flag. Because really most associations should, and that helps you plan for the future. So when we need to replace the roofs or the siding, how are we budgeting so that we have the money to do that at that time?
And there are many that have lost their FHA approval, so you can't finance some of them with FHA. Would that be a red flag to you?
Certainly if your buyer is FHA, yes. If you're not concerned about getting FHA financing for your buyer, it's not necessarily the fact that they are or are not approved, because something like saying we're going to prohibit leasing will lose your FHA approval status as a condo.
Oh, I didn't know that.
You have to have at least one unit that can be leased in order to qualify for FHA financing. So if an association has taken steps to restrict leasing or other things of that nature, they may not qualify anymore for FHA. If you're, if your buyer is looking to buy this as an investment property, that would be a concern. Just the fact that there's rental restrictions, but you need to understand more than just the fact that they're not FHA approved as to why.
I didn't know all of that. Well, thank you. Thank you, Phaedra, for answering our questions. I hope that clarifies some things for you. Please read your docs. Please, please, please. Or you can call Phaedra and she will walk you through it. She'll read them and explain them to you. Her contact information is right below. It's Mary Jo with H360 Homes. And don't forget to subscribe right there. See you next time.